Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just begin to notice the way your thoughts flow, the way ideas shift, the way your mind is already beginning to open. Because as you hear these words, something inside you knows that learning is happening, that change is already in motion. And that's the beautiful thing about the mind, isn't it? It's a self-upgrading system. It adapts, it grows, it evolves effortlessly. And maybe you've already noticed how everything in life is just data, numbers, patterns, formulas. Like a vast code base of reality, constantly running, constantly refining, and sometimes a piece of code just doesn't work the way it should. Maybe it's outdated, maybe it's inefficient, maybe it was useful once but doesn't serve you anymore. And that's great news, because all code can be edited. Think about it. Everything you've ever learned, every belief, every habit, every success, every failure, it's all just programming. Some scripts run smoothly, some cause errors, but the system itself is always learning. And right now, you can feel that shift, that realization that nothing is fixed. Because anytime you think there's only one way, you can add another and another. Because one option isn't a choice. 2 options, that's just a trap. But 3, that's freedom. And as you begin to recognize this pattern, you might even start to laugh at how simple it is. Because every time life presents you a problem, you now know you can always generate at least 3 solutions. Now imagine a tightrope walker balancing effortlessly, shifting from one side to the other. Never fixed, never rigid, always adapting. That's how your brain works. It self-corrects, recalibrates, finds the perfect balance point. And if you ever struggle with failure, well, isn't it interesting how failure is just feedback? Because once you embrace it as part of the process, as a tool, as a natural part of calibration, it stops being failure and it starts becoming momentum. And momentum, once set in motion, it has a way of taking over. You've felt it before, haven't you? That moment when something just clicks and suddenly, what was once difficult becomes easy. And that's because learning is natural. Evolution is built in. All you have to do is keep moving. Now as you go even deeper into this realization, you can begin to notice something fascinating about emotions. How they fluctuate, shift and expand. Because emotions, they're not your enemy. They're data points, signals, indicators that help you to navigate life. And if you ever felt stuck in a loop of negative emotions, maybe you're just running old inefficient code. Because what happens when you add movement to emotion? What happens when you play with it instead of resisting it? What happens when you let yourself laugh, joke, shift perspective, and express everything freely? Something changes, doesn't it? Because emotions, they aren't meant to be suppressed. They're meant to be felt, explored, expanded. Once you stop fearing them, once you stop labeling them as bad or good, they just become energy. And you can use that however you want. Now imagine being able to step back from any situation and realize that you always have a choice. Because no one and nothing can ever take away your ability to choose your response. Maybe in the past you acted automatically. Maybe someone triggered you and you fell into old patterns. That was just all programming. And now you can interrupt the pattern. Stop, think, ask, what's the most fun, joyful, loving response I can give right now? And suddenly everything shifts. Because you're no longer reacting, you're creating. And the more you practice this, the easier it gets. The more fun it becomes, until one day you wake up and you realize nothing controls you. No one dictates your emotions. Because you're the one writing the code. And at this point, something clicks, doesn't it? That life isn't meant to be a struggle. It's a game. A game where the only rule is growth. Where the only way to win is to keep playing. And you can play it any way you want. Some people, they take it too seriously. Some people live in fear, but you get to play fully. With joy, with curiosity, with an open mind that constantly asks, how can this get even better? Because when you ask that question, your mind has to find an answer. And the more you ask, the more amazing possibilities unfold before you. Because when you shift your focus, you shift your reality. as this new understanding locks into place. As this realization becomes a part of your new upgraded operating system, you can take a deep breath and notice that something feels different now. Something has shifted. A new way of being is already taking root, and all you have to do is enjoy it. When you open your eyes, you'll find yourself stepping into this new reality, more playful, more free, more alive than ever before. Doesn't that just feel amazing?